Hey everyone, Ryan here, M&R Productions, and from 2016, we have the LEGO Star Wars 75156 Krennic'S Imperial Shuttle. With 863 pieces, this was released alongside Rogue One for just $90. One of the best value LEGO Star Wars sets of the last decade, in my opinion. It's got the beautiful Rogue One logo on the top right with the Death Trooper. Of course, 2 Death Troopers included in this set with exclusive pauldrons. We have Director Krennic, POW, Bodhi Rook, and K2SO rounding out the minifigure selection. So 6 minifigs for $90 in LEGO Star Wars is really good. If you didn't know, very rare sight, honestly. We got the Death Star in the background, shows that Krennic's shuttle can actually be folded up and put into a landed position. But while this one was an exceptional value upon its release, if you want one sealed in the box nowadays, it'll cost you about $270. That ain't cheap, and so it's a little bit of a tougher sell nowadays, but man, when this thing was released, it was an excellent deal and a set that I absolutely loved. Interestingly enough, due to Disney, this set almost didn't exist. They wanted LEGO Star Wars to make the Zeta class shuttle back there. That's a custom version of the set. LEGO Star Wars has never made that set, but ultimately they decided to let LEGO Star Wars make the Krennic'S Imperial Shuttle, and it was the right decision. It was one of the best decisions they made because this is really one of the best sets of the 2010s. Really underrated for a while, but people have definitely come around to realize it's so good modern day. Now, these Rogue One sets had this weird thing where everything kind of had this blue tone to it, so while this is definitely the sand of Scarif in the background, it's kind of blue and snowy looking. It's a bit of an odd thing, but ultimately a design choice that makes these boxes very unique for LEGO Star Wars. Here on the left, we have the dimensions of the Krennic shuttle, and it shows off some of the features of the set, and you can see the set kind of fully laid out there on the ground. When it comes to unboxing, of course, you can expect a pretty standard experience for LEGO Star Wars with numbered bags, and we have our instruction manual in plastic so that it doesn't get bent. That's great. Same with the stickers there. And in case you wanted to take a small trip down memory lane, we'll flip to the back of the book to see the Rogue One minifigs and the other original Rogue One set wave. Oh, that is awesome to see. Our first figure here is K2SO, and LEGO did a great job with him, bringing the Super Battle Droid legs in black to this figure, as well as regular Battle Droid arms in black for this guy. The torso, however, is specially made for him and has the head attached to it, so the head is not actually a separate piece or anything, it's just solidly attached to the torso. And you can see even on the side of the shoulders, essentially, you've got these great Imperial logos printed on. Some of the best detail that you can find on a LEGO Star Wars droid minifigures found on K2SO here. And there is the backside, kind of an open concept with a stud on the back, so you could add a little accessory or something to it. It's something that never got any use, but it's totally LEGO to add something like that onto the back needlessly, just so that it fits in the system. Next up, we have Bodhi Rook, who, looking back on it, is not a very good looking figure here. Kind of looks like Chumley from Pawn Stars. I don't know, it's just kind of the vibe I'm getting. Really could have used some leg and waist printing on this guy. I mean, it's a generally okay looking figure when you put the second face on. I don't know, I was going to say he looks less derpy with the goggles, but I can certainly see thinking the goggles are more derpy. However, I personally prefer the goggles look to the non-goggles look, and then you can see the part-built backpack on the back. Next up, we have POW, who's just another kind of side character from Rogue One, but this guy does get leg and waist printing, which looks way better than we saw with Bodhi Rook with just the plain legs. Also, his like helmet thing is fantastic with a great mold and different colors there with the darker tan color versus the regular tan color. You can see he's kind of got an angry, smug looking face. And flipping that around, we'll find what is low-key one of the more expressive LEGO Star Wars faces of all times, with him screaming at the top of his lungs. That is awesome. Next up, we've got our pair of Death Troopers, which did later appear in a battle pack. However, for Krennic's shuttle specifically, they had a pauldron that did not come in the battle pack. So these are kind of a special version of the LEGO Death Trooper, which I really do like. These are one of my favorite LEGO Star Wars troop minifigures ever. They are just fantastic looking, and they're so menacing in Star Wars in general, both in Rogue One, and I believe they've also made appearances in Mandalorian, and of course Andor, very much attached to Rogue One there. But I mean, this guy is just epic looking. I love the little green spots on the front of the helmet, and then if we remove that helmet, you'll just find the angry clone face. Yeah, nothing special there, but yeah, these guys are just awesome figures for this set. And of course, you can't have Krennic's Shuttle without director Krennic himself. An excellent looking minifig here, the perfect hairpiece for him. He's got a great flowing, soft white cape here, so I really like that. And if we lift that up, actually, you can see a very great back print there, even though it's going to be covered most of the time. He's got a silver blaster, which is something that sets him apart a little bit. Looks a little bit more classy like he does. And somewhat surprisingly, no second face on this guy, even though it would totally be covered on the backside, as you can see. So not really sure why they didn't give him a second facial expression, yet this random guy got one. Either way, fantastic character here, rounding out our minifigure selection with 6 total figures. You can't be disappointed with 6 figures for 90 bucks. That's really rare with LEGO Star Wars, let alone 6 really good figures here for 90 bucks. Maybe bar Bodhi Rook there, who might look a little bit awkward to some, but still, you're getting a good character selection and great execution as far as the detail on the characters go. Before we take a look at all the features, I just want to take a moment to admire the absolutely stunning beauty of the director Krennic's Imperial Shuttle. I mean, this thing is amazing looking and would look beautiful on the shelf alongside a Zeta-class shuttle or a Death Star if LEGO actually sold either of those models at any point in time in recent history. It's literally been 17 years since a paneled Death Star. It's getting a little out of hand. Anyway, that doesn't take away from the beauty of this thing. It's great and would look great on anyone's display if it's something you're able to pick up or have. I will say, as someone who did previously own this set and put it on display, it will look pretty rough after it gets dusty, so I would have to recommend getting some sort of case for this thing. You don't want to let this one get dusty. The black will scratch really badly when you dust it, or if you let the dust sit there, it'll start to look gray. Either way, not a good look. When it comes to play features on the exterior, there's one thing that you can never miss on a LEGO Star Wars ship, and that is your spring-loaded shooters. Now, these are located on both wings and obviously make a little bit more sense when the wings are folded down, which we'll get to in a minute. But if you want to shoot these off, you literally just have to press down on it like this. It'll shoot off. You can stop it with your hand or actually have it go towards a target if you like, but it is something that is nicely integrated on the exterior, and that if you want to remove these for your display, I think it is kind of optimal. It looks a little bit cleaner without them on the outside, but it's not really a huge detractor either way. Looking around the front of the ship, we'll see some cool details like the main cannons on the front sticking out. I think that looks pretty good. And then if we work our way up, we can see the cockpit area with this really nice printed windscreen piece. It is beautiful. The black color actually matches the LEGO black color almost perfectly. That's something that can be a problem on a lot of LEGO sets where the colors of windscreen pieces won't exactly match the color of the brick. That's not a problem here. Doesn't seem that at all. Looks awesome. So that's something that this set absolutely did right and very well. And then looking to the rear, we can see some engine thrust coming out the back with translucent light blue. I think that looks spectacular. And you even got a little bit of sticker detail in there. Not necessary at all, but the sticker does add just a bit of extra detail there that I think looks fantastic. A couple other nice touches on top of the overall black design is the red accenting you can see there in the main fin, and then on the wings, and then even on the rear here with that little bit of translucent red, which kind of helps make that translucent red spring-loaded shooter just look a little bit better with the design. There's even a little bit more translucent red inside. So that's a nice touch of red on this set. I really could do without the blue and the brown peeking through, though. It's really the only flaw I see in this set is something like that, where LEGO just completely refuses to do parts like this other than in one singular color. And unfortunately, it tends to be a color that really stands out on Star Wars models like that, so it kind of detracts from the overall design. The bottom of the shuttle is super messy, given that it's what really facilitates so many of the nice angles on this ship, as well as some of the features on this thing, so you just kind of have to give it a break there. It's just an imperfect bottom, and of all the places to be imperfect on any LEGO Star Wars set, I think the part that you don't see on the bottom is the place to be like that, and so it's perfectly fine here. It's perfectly normal, acceptable, what you would expect. Now, what this set does really well that a lot of sets really don't, but people really like, and I get a lot of comments about it, like landing gear, right? Landing gear is something that is kind of 50-50 when it comes to LEGO Star Wars sets, but this one does it right. It's kind of got this sled design or whatever, and you can push it forward, it goes away, but it still kind of works. You can still put it down and it's still going to stand on it. And so when it's properly put down like this, you can actually sit the ship down and it will be perfectly balanced as all things should be. Now, when it comes to making this shuttle fly, of course, we'll put the landing gear up and then the wings drop down. And you can see the wingspan on this thing is ridiculously massive. I mean, it's really funny looking in a way. Now, of course, when it comes to making Krennic's shuttle fly, we'll put the landing gear up and then the wings actually come down. And then this main fin in the middle here is what you're going to use to hold the thing. It's got some very nice Technic integration, so it's actually very strong for you to hold on to. You don't have to worry about it breaking or anything, although it is a little bit bendier than I'd like, but it's really just due to its small size as a fin. It just doesn't have enough pieces in there to give it a really rigid strength. But in flight mode, this thing's wingspan is ridiculously massive. I mean, you can see compared to me, 5'11" human, like it's huge. So flying around can be a ton of fun. You can hold it by the fin, which like I said, can feel a bit flimsy. I usually prefer to hold it around here. This thing will pick up fingerprints that you'll certainly see when we get in a little bit closer because it's just that matte black. It's just that nice shiny black from Lego that tends to do that. But in playing around with it, can still be a ton of fun. It's very swooshable and you don't really have to worry about anything breaking on the model. Just gorgeous. This thing is awesome. And to lead us to the inside, of course, we have a loading ramp that can drop down from the front. We'll drop it 1 and 2 just like that, and that's pretty cool. Some sets have them, some sets don't, but it always looks really cool when it's out like this. Part of the problem with sets like this sometimes is that the set itself just doesn't allow for it to really make sense, and that's fine. I'm sure some kids get some nice use out of something like this, but ultimately it's always something that's at an odd angle, and so like I don't know, I wouldn't display it with the loading ramp down or anything. It's just nice that they put it there, you know? It doesn't take away anything from the design at all. It's just an additional feature that you can choose to use or not use. Now, as far as accessing the rest of the interior, you're really gonna wanna drop these wings down because the side panels pull off and kind of away like this. So away and down, they don't go up. So you have to have the wings on the side out of the way so you can actually do that. So pull the other side down like so. And this side, this one, and then the middle one kind of goes up, but it doesn't really like stay up. So you really don't move that one at all, even though it can be moved if you want. And then in case you're curious, the back one can drop down and reveal a spot for some weapons. And we'll make use of that. 1, 2, and 3. And now they're out of the way, which is awesome. 1 and 2, you're good to go with your weapons being held at the back. When it comes to the main seat at the top center of the shuttle, of course, it's built perfectly for Director Krennic. It's got kind of a standard Lego Star Wars control panel, and then for the larger control panel here that is a sticker, we have the Death Star being shown on this, which is just amazing to see. It's a really nice control area for Director Krennic. They've left ample space to the rear for his cape to slide in, and this is definitely a good thing that his cape is a soft cape because otherwise his cape would be getting bent really, really badly and irreparably, like it would just have really bad creases in it. But because they use the soft material like they've been doing in recent years to avoid those really bad creases and poor quality over time, it ends up working really well there. So getting to the lower interior sections, we'll put the front section up and above Director Krennic's head, and you can see it's kind of spacious, but also really messy looking. You can't really get an idea of what's going on. I mean, there's a couple areas where you could sit characters. There's this area here, which kind of actually looks like steps up to Krennic's seat there. So it actually has some really cool details on the inside, like the steps, like the Imperial lighting on the side. I think that's one of my favorite parts of this set, certainly. However, it's one of the messier interiors I've ever seen for certain. You can place your Death Troopers here, and they have some nice stickered control panels, both the same here. And because in the back of the box they show both Death Troopers on the same side, we can discern that the other side is supposed to be filled in by Death Troopers, maybe from the battle pack or really any other minifig you want. But I guess ideally Lego wanted you to buy that battle pack for 15 bucks after you went out and spent $90, and then you're able to fill in the 2 spots there. That sort of thing is probably what they were really getting at. And then just to give you maybe a better idea of how this ramp works, just dropping it down, lifting it back up just because we have the easy access there. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool to see those Death Troopers in there. It almost makes me wish they had just gone and filled it out with the full 4 and forgot about doing the battle pack. But the interior on Director Krennic's Imperial Shuttle is simultaneously one of the messiest interiors, yet one of the coolest, most detailed interiors on a set of its size. When you're up late at night and you think to yourself, what is the perfect Lego Star Wars set? Director Krennic's Imperial Shuttle might not come to mind, but it very much should be in the conversation. For $90, you got 6 amazing minifigs with that awesome Director Krennic, 2 Death Troopers, POW, Bodhi Rook, and K2SO, and then of course the gorgeous beast that is the actual shuttle itself. A great display model, very prominent for your Imperial Army, as well as a very fun playset for kids. It really does it all, and that's all you can ask for in a mid-range LEGO Star Wars set at $90. I certainly might have too much nostalgia for something that only came out 6 years ago. However, is this set a perfect 10 out of 10? I mean, it's about as good as you can get for a set in its price range. But let me know what you think about it in the comments section below. If you enjoyed, definitely hit that like button, and you can check out more LEGO Star Wars 2016 set reviews on the end screen now.